I am Ben Watkins,
And I'm Lacey.
and we've been going to the quarry for the past, 14 years. We have 5 daughters that go with us as well, and it's been an adventure.
From as early as I can remember, I always knew that God loved me and that Jesus gave his life for me. Through high school and college, it was really important to me to do right. I worked hard to get good grades. I worked for awards and achievements. I knew that I wasn't perfect, but I felt like I was doing better than people my age around me. Some of those things, my motivation might have been to honor God, but for a lot of those things, it was just for my own reputation. The problem was I knew my secret sin. I knew things that other people didn't see. The lies and gossip, the lust and manipulation. The truth is that I hurt people deeply. Most of the time I felt too ashamed to acknowledge it, and so instead of bringing it to Jesus, I would just push it away and try harder to do better. Being good morally and through achieving things, that became my primary identity. Somewhere along the way, I lost sight of the free gift of the salvation that Jesus had given me. This didn't really come full circle for me until I became a stay-at-home mom. I always wanted to be home with my kids like my mom had done. When we welcomed our 3rd child in 3 years, my dream finally became a reality. A lot of the time, it was a harsh reality. The needs and demands of my girls felt endless. It was like my body didn't belong to me anymore, and I felt so empty. The ugliest parts of my flesh came to the surface: anger, selfishness, despair. There was nothing that I wanted more in the whole world than to be a good mom and a supportive wife. But no matter how hard I tried, I just kept coming up short. So I cried out to God. I thought, how could it be that I have the things I've always wanted, but I'm still so dissatisfied? And there's a passage in the Gospel of Matthew where Jesus is talking to the religious leaders, and he says to them, you spend all of your life cleaning the outside of the cup when the inside is filthy. Hypocrites. First clean the inside of the cup, and then the outside will be clean. I didn't need God to change or fix my circumstances, but I needed him to change me. I had to realize that I had been getting my value from what people thought of me and not from what God thought of me. Our God is a good Father, and he has been so faithful to meet me right where I am each day. The beautiful thing is that he already did the work. All I do is come to him with an open heart, and he does the cleansing from the inside. This wasn't like a one and done prayer or situation. This is something that I'm learning I have to continually do, and that this is what it looks like to be in an intimate relationship with Jesus.
So my story started where my parents brought us to church. I've got an older brother and 2 younger sisters, and so we were pretty faithful in our church attendance, but it didn't mean much to me. It was something that we had to do, and I would much rather be doing other things. When I was in middle school, we had some abuse in my family, and my parents got divorced. My family kind of blew up, and that just created this hole in me. I started to look for things to fill that hole. I was looking at friends and sports and girls, popularity, and the hole kept getting bigger. And the more I kept trying to search and trying to fill it with all this stuff, the worse it seemed to get. And I started looking around and just trying to figure out, I was like, what is there? Why am I doing any of this? There's no reason for any of it. I just wanted to have fun, right? That was just my escape. And I didn't think that God was fun. God was the guy who ruined all my fun, and who was maybe responsible for the whole family destruction in my mind. And so I think I had some anger toward God. I know I had a lot of anger toward my family and just everything that happened. When I was in probably 10th grade, there was an FCA event where they brought in some of the Green Bay Packers to my high school to speak at an evening event. And I remember being invited, and I resonated with a lot of the things that they were saying, just from mistakes that they had made in their lives, from the hurt that they had been feeling, the hurt that they had caused. It led me to look at my mom, how after the hurt that she had experienced through our family destruction, that she had been living with joy for these past years, and that she had something that I was really searching for. And I realized that it was Jesus. It was a slow process, but I realized at that point that I needed God to fill the hole that I had in my life. Being an FCA leader in college changed me a little bit, and that allowed me to really seek God and His Word for maybe the first time, to really dig in and try to get some of these questions I had answered for myself. When Lacey and I got married, we moved down to Phoenix, found a church down there, and we made the choice together that this was what we were going to do. And we were going to commit to making God a big part of our life. That was the first time that we had ever really chosen to be generous. That was the first time that we had chosen to bring community into our lives. And so when we moved back to Minnesota, finding a church was top priority. And we came to the Quarry, and we immediately knew that it was home. God has just been continuing to work on taking more and more of my life over. I think the beauty of Easter is just in His new life, and Him being resurrected just reminds me of Him being the only way, that I am a sinner in need of a Savior, allows me to keep coming back to Him when things get hard, when things get tough. I've tried to do it on my own, and I've failed over and over. And for me, just the surrender of me having my only hope in Him dying for me and coming back to life, just to remember how much He loves us and how He takes care of us is such a beautiful thing.